Yeah, I thought of putting out a newsletter or something like that saying we're resigning from the specialty industry. It's just, you know,
I'm happy to co-sign that for you, George.
it's just not what it is. And again, that's all about. And now you see actually a lot of farmers uh, not producing an agricultural product so much as a manufactured product, using all these pineapples inside the water and changing the flavor and
Or
all this
fermented.
stuff. Oh my God, it's getting
You
insane.
love those, don't you, George?
It's the new age of flavored coffees, right? In the
Exactly
80s,
what it is.
yeah, in the 80s, the flavors were added onto roasted coffee. Now it's being done to
Yeah.
the green, but it's the same concept all over again.
Our monthly Map It Forward online discussion group is a huge success. Professionals from across the coffee industry come together to have real, open conversations about the challenges and opportunities we're all facing right now. If you've ever wanted to be a part of a serious, values-aligned community that talks about real solutions to the coffee crisis while meeting people from all over the world and across the coffee value chain, this is for you. It's part of our roasted coffee tier on our Patreon membership and will set you back about $20 a month. For this price, you'll also get early and ad-free access to the podcast, as well as access to our weekly industry insights blog post. Think of the kind of people that you've heard on this podcast. That's the caliber of participants and discussion you'll be contributing to. If the roasted coffee tier is a little out of your price range right now, there are two other options on Patreon that will give you the opportunity to support the work that we do at Map It Forward, and we're very grateful for that support no matter what tier you support us at. To join, head to patreon.com/Map It Forward and select the roasted coffee tier, or check the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 4 of a really fantastic 5-part series with George Howell and Tim Wendelboe. We're talking about understanding the impact of climate on the coffee value chain. In this episode, we're not talking about climate. We are going to be talking about some of the other forces that are impacting the coffee value chain. We've been talking a lot on this podcast about the coffee crisis, guys. And for those who haven't heard it before, the way that we define the coffee crisis is that it is a multi-layered, multifaceted convergence of many different forces that are all colliding at the same time and creating stress in the coffee value chain. Things like labor, things like the climate crisis, things like currency, logistics, geopolitics, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of things that are going on. And I'm keen to hear what you guys think are the most important forces that are impacting the coffee value chain at the moment. And I might start with you, George. What do you think is one of the important ones?
My obsession is black coffee. I keep having.
I'm going to get you a t-shirt.
We are, as I said, the latest cafe has a big title up above, black coffee, drinking it. We are creating a new label that will go on our bags, which everybody in specialty is talking about 3 different flavors in the coffee. It's like, I don't know, cranberry, oranges, and caramel will be one description, and then another has 3 words and so on. Do you do that in Europe, Tim?
Yeah, we have some flavor descriptors, but yeah.
Right. So we're at...
Wait, let him finish that. But what?
Oh, there's no buts. I mean, yeah, we do.
Like useless is what I'm finding. In a way.
Somewhat.
Well,
somewhat.
We've added another flavor. Holy smokes. A flavor that should have been there from the start.
What?
It's an irreducible flavor. Coffee.
Right. Coffee. Are you actually putting that on the bags now?
Yeah. So we're showing you like a Central American Caturra or Bourbon is 90% coffee flavor.
Yeah, that's true.
And just a touch of this or that. And then you can get a geisha that is 50-60% coffee flavor.
That's really interesting.
And a whole lot of other flavors, right? So that's what's going in this new cafe, right? Not just the bags are going to be showing that in color, right, as well. So you can see the different colors. I don't know if you can actually, if I blow this up, let me see if I can actually, like,
You got it on your phone there.
yeah.
Up a little bit, up, up, up.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So one's Mamuto, the other's another, but you can see that they're different, right? The purple,
Yes.
blackberry, and so on.
Also using colors to communicate that.
This one's a Central American, much less color. Also, all the brown is the flavor of coffee itself.
Oh, so it's a
You
gradient
can read
that
it
shows
visually.
you, for
It's
those who are just
visual reader.
listening, right. So for those who are just listening, what we can see is the label of a coffee bag, and this coffee, is it Dota?
Yeah.
That I can see there?
Correct.
So the Dota, so let's say 90% of it is brown, and then there are bands, colored bands across the top that are
Right.
indicators of other flavor profiles.
Right.
And so George Howell Coffee in their new store is going to be communicating flavor based on a color gradient. Is that right, George?
Yeah, exactly. So it means when you look at a bag, you can just, your eye can just sweep across a number of them, not having to read word, 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 word. And once you get used to this, you can say, this is a coffee, or this has got a whole lot of other flavor. It sends you. And the other point is these are black coffees without anything added to them whatsoever. They're not flavored. They're intrinsic flavors that are in the coffee itself, which is the miracle of coffee. That's what's amazing about coffee. It's not the same all the time, right? So that's the message that we're trying to get through. And again, being in the States, I find it critical to try to get more black coffee drinkers, because if only 90%, if 90% are all going to be adding milk to their coffee, what specialty even mean anymore? There's not the specialty
Doesn't mean
you want to
anything.
be in, right?
Did you say, Tim?
Specialty doesn't mean anything. I
No.
realized that many years ago.
Exactly right.
Well, that's a good point. Good time.
Yeah.
Can you tell people, when we were having the preliminary conversation, Tim was telling us they don't use the word specialty coffee in Tim Wendelboe coffee. Can you tell us about that?
By the way, I'm
George and I found it.
along those lines.
Yeah, George and I were really fascinated when Tim started telling us this. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I realized many years ago, I went to the Specialty Coffee Association trade shows, and you started seeing a lot of the coffees that were there were the opposite of that. It was like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have to mention names, but like the huge industrial roasters that were so far away from it, that were like clearly commodity labels. And I thought, like, why are they here if we're in a specialty coffee fair? And then I also a lot of times when I tasted coffee and people said it was specialty, and I just couldn't find anything special about it. It's like, what's so special about this? It's especially bad or especially, So I think, in order for, and it's a word that is pretty difficult for a normal person to understand. Yeah, they understand the word special, but it doesn't really say anything about how it's grown or anything. So for me, just the word quality, most people understand high and low quality and medium quality, and there are different levels of quality. So I just talk about quality as a scale, and the problem for a consumer is that everyone who sells coffee claims to have the best quality coffee. Everyone claims to only have ripe coffee cherries, yet there are many coffees produced in the world that are not that type of coffee. Yet where do they go? So I think for me it's just too easy to just brand coffee with a word, and by that the customer is supposed to understand that it's going to taste good. I think that's too simplistic. So just like with wine, you have like different levels of quality, you have different price levels, you have different flavors. There's so much more to it that we need to talk about. So that's why I kind of steer away from brands or like labels in coffee in general. And a fair trade is a different one. Like, what's so fair about it? They pay minimum wage. Is that fair? You know, like. Uh, so
Agree.
yeah, I think all these kind of labels for me is more for huge producers, commodity producers, to tell
Keep
everyone,
them in line.
yeah, to keep them interesting, And if you're a small roaster like George and us, and we're just we're playing in different playgrounds, so and we don't really have to talk about what call them anything. Like if we are special, then what are the other ones? They're not special. So
Right. Right.
yeah, I
You
just don't
know,
like labeling stuff in coffee in general.
Yeah, I thought of putting out a newsletter or something like that, saying we're resigning from the specialty industry. It's just, you know,
I'm happy to co-sign that for you, George.
it's just not what it is. And again, that's all about. And now you see actually a lot of farmers not producing an agricultural product so much as a manufactured product, using all these pineapples inside the water and changing the flavor and all this
Fermented.
stuff. Oh my God, it's getting
You
insane.
love those, don't you, George?
It's the new age of flavored coffees, right? In the
Exactly
80s,
what it is.
yeah, in the 80s, the flavors were added onto roasted coffee. Now it's being done
Yeah.
to the green, but it's the same concept all over again. In the meanwhile, there's this amazing gift that nature has given us with amazing flavors that are not being checked at all because it's too hard to do, and so let's not do it. Let's add these
But
other.
is that a consequence? Is the co-ferments a consequence of what's happening with the climate?
Yeah.
Is it that get Tim?
I think it's part of it because
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
I have a good example, and my friend Diego in Colombia was going to compete in the World Barista Championship. Was it 2018 or something in Korea? I don't remember. But he spent like a full year trying to find a 90-point coffee in Colombia, and he couldn't find it.
That's wild.
Yeah, in
That's
Colombia,
wild.
the second largest producer of Arabica coffee in the world. And so there's a desperate need to have something that stands out, for not just for competition, but also for smaller roasters that are all buying coffee from, more or less the same importers. So they just need something that can make them stand out a little bit. And that created kind of the need for doing this. And, there's nothing that stands out more for me than like a really good Kenyan coffee or a really good Ethiopian coffee or a really good geisha, whatever. It's just there are very few of them, and they're also getting more expensive because there are more people who want to buy it. So
And
for farmers to compensate for that, they try different processes. And there's nothing. I don't believe there's anything wrong with highly processed coffee if that's what you like to drink. It can create a market for a farmer that he didn't have before and can create some value. But let's just call it what it is. It's for me. You should also have a gradient for rot on your labels, George. Like how much rot can you taste in this coffee? Putrefied.
Right, speckles.
Yeah.
Speckles.
No, I honestly think, just like with flavored coffee, it made people drink coffee. You have to start somewhere. And I remember in 2008, I think it was, I tasted some natural processed coffees that just blew my mind. And of course, today I don't really drink a lot of naturals, but it got me really excited about coffee again.
Yeah.
I hadn't had that kind of enthusiasm for a long time, and I know that it got a lot of people into coffee because they tasted something like really crazy, and then kind of over time you kind of move away from that and you go for the more subtle washed stuff. And I see the same in beer. It's very easy to get excited about a really flavorful IPA. And then after you've had 1,000 IPAs, you lean towards more like the delicate pilsners. That can be really difficult to brew, actually.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the like high commercial pilsners, but like good pilsners.
Yeah.
So I think, these things come in waves a little bit. And I do think anything that makes it exciting to drink coffee is a good thing, you know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more purist. I just
Yeah, I mean, I started drinking hazelnut lattes, you know, and I haven't
oh,
done that in 20 something years. So,
yeah, that was the
you know,
1980s.
yeah,
Coffee
or
Connection,
1990s for me.
any of them. We just refused. Period. And we did well, right? We let other people do that. And we'll do the same thing.
Except the frappe, sir. You cannot get away from that, no matter what you want
Yeah.
to try and say that
That
we were
was obvious
purists
to
or
begin.
whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
You created the frappe. Coffee Connection created it. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's what absolutely fueled other things that we were doing, without a doubt.
right.
That's the thing. I mean, you have to, as I say, you may love black coffee and exploring it, but the ultimate date that you're going out with may want the milk. So we
Right.
got to provide both.
Both options.
Yes,
And
because we want them coming
that's
in.
where
Right.
that's where I'd like to take the conversation, is because there is clearly a force that's happening in coffee that is really stress testing what we consider coffee. Well, yes, coffee, but quality. And George and I have jousted on the role that quality plays in coffee in quite a number of conversations. But there are market forces that are really stress testing this idea of where the concept of quality, what role does quality coffee play in the coffee market these days? And, you know, that has many ripple effects, right, with regards to the supply of quality versus what we can charge in the market. And I'm very aware that I live in the city that purchased coffee for $30,000+ a kilo, and that did a lot of damage to the reputation of Dubai as a coffee consuming region, and the roasters here, etc., etc. But with regards to the idea of quality and the market and the way that things are shifting, where do you guys see the role that quality is going to play in things moving forward when you do have things like inflation and you do have the introduction of matcha being something that's no longer a hyped product? You know, this is not just a vibe anymore. This is a staple in cafes. And I would argue that many cafes survived the last couple of years because of matcha. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, those are, you know, when you're relying on matcha and all the rest of it, yeah, you become a kind of generic coffee house. And certainly we sell matcha. It's a small percentage of what we do, but again, it's catering to that diversity and to the fact that a group of 3 people may have one super black coffee drinker, and the other 2, you want them in there in order for him or her to come for what they want, right? And then it's a matter of really trying to open up people to taste other things. That's why we're doing the color thing that you saw with the labels and everything else, is inviting people to see that there's really a world to explore there with the black coffee, right? To me, it's always amazing to, and we brought this up before, is you go to a top of the, now this is the States again, I don't know about Europe, but you go to the States and you go to the top of the line, Michelin-starred restaurants, and they cannot serve you a decent cup of coffee. These are chefs who claim to taste and have great sophistication, and yet what they're serving in the end is crap. There's no other word for it, or just nothing, right? It's drink it and get out of here. There is a huge audience of people who go to these places to delect in all these wonderful combinations, who have no clue that coffee is every bit the equal of what they're serving in other food products, is the equal to the best wines, is equal to all of that. how do we get that message? It's like an invisible barrier between cafes and high quality cafes and these, gourmet centers, if you will.
Given that Tim
complete
serves,
different experience.
go ahead. I was going to say he roasts coffee for Noma, so it's very different.
Actually,
ahead.
Noma started roasting their own coffee, so I've been training.
But you did
with them
serve.
for
I saw that.
years.
Yeah.
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 But
on, Tim.
I'm in a rare position, I think, because our coffee shop only serves coffee, so I don't really care about matcha or whatever. People come to us to drink coffee, and that's it. We have some alternatives, which is like a cascara tea, but it's still coffee. And of course, we have some milk drinks and also alternative milk, but no flavorings, So I think you
Sugar?
get the guests.
Do you let people put sugar? Do you offer sugar if somebody
Yeah, of
asks
course.
for it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. But most people don't need it. So I think you kind of invite, if you want to open a high-end coffee shop, only focusing
You
on
better
coffee,
be. You
then
better be
why
a
would you
high-end
have
coffee
matcha?
shop.
Like, it's like having a wine store and then you have beer and soda. Like, for me, that doesn't make sense. You're a wine store.
It's called real estate prices.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to be true to your concept, and we've done that. And of course, in the first years, we had no customers, but today we have a line out the door almost all day long during summer. So I think it just takes time. And we in Norway we have a culture for drinking black coffee, like that's the staple coffee,
Exactly.
with milk or sugar, But black coffee is like everyone can drink it, and I think that's also why all the restaurants that we have as clients and we've been working with for many years prefer to only serve black coffee because it's much less work and it always tastes good. It's easy to make instead of having the espresso, all the training that comes into that and steaming milk. And so I actually had been to 4 very, very good restaurants, both here in Denmark and Norway for the last 2 weeks, and all of them served exceptional coffee. So for here, it's
You're living George's
completely
dream.
Yeah. It's like the Twilight Zone.
How did they brew them?
Oh, it's normally a batch brew. And, you have a good grinder. We normally dial in the grinder with the clients and test it every now and then. We just visit them. And when we deliver coffee and we test the TDS and just give them some good rinsing programs to rinse thermoses and stuff. And you don't need a big batch brewery. You need a small one because most tables are like small to serve. So you can make 8 cups maximum. You have fresh coffee. The people who serve the coffee talk a little bit about the coffee, like they would present the wine. Nothing. It's not a big education, but it's just informing people who.
This is the origin. This is the flavor profiles.
The other advantage you have is light roast, so people can tell differences. Here we're in a dark roast culture, without a doubt.
So I think that's part of why Norway is so in love with coffee, especially young people now as well, is because to access good coffee is very, very easy. Like even the biggest coffee chain we have in Oslo, they roast exceptional coffee. They're the biggest retailer of cup of excellence in the world, I think. So, it's so easy to get a tasty cup of black coffee, and I think that's why people like it.
Yeah. So here it's again all dark roast. Practically every restaurant is doing medium dark to dark across the board. We have Pete's and Starbucks to thank for that, among other things.
Both of the founders of those companies are your mates. So, and I know that for a fact. So you should have had more influence on them, sir.
Oh.
I was born in that world.
But it's a fight, I've been fighting since I opened my store, trying to persuade customers to drink lighter roasts, and after 10 years, people started getting into it, and then
That's what I want to ask you guys now. Is from what you just said, do you think if you started your businesses today, in the climate that it currently is in, do you think it would work?
even more, I think.
Well, I guess because you were a part of establishing that whole culture. You were part of cultivating that and building the culture the way that it is. If you had to start from the place that it was today without the culture the way that it is, do you think that it would work?
Big question in the States, especially. I mean, again, it's really is. I mean, real estate rentals in the Boston area are unbelievably high priced. You really have to sell quantities in order to stay going. You want a somewhat sophisticated audience, and who are going to be drinking more expensive coffee than your Dunkin' Donuts. So you're automatically going towards places that are going to charge you more for the rent, for starters.
Right.
And you're talking about in Boston, like Harvard Square, where I started Coffee Connection. The amount now to the rent is $200 to $300 per square foot.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know how that goes into meters, but it is an enormous amount. It means that in 1,000 square feet or whatever, your cafe has to do millions in sales a year.
Right.
So it's possible, but you have to find just the right spot to open. That is very hard to find. That's not going to cost you the arm and a leg that a more mature business could deal with potentially. There's a lot to it, right? I mean, when we opened up our main coffee house that's in downtown Boston, it took us 3 years to find the location before we stepped into it, right?
Okay.
So these are some of the issues.
Because I'm wondering if people have the time, the 2, 3, 4 years to make back their capital investment like they used to. A lot of businesses are trying to make that back within a year and a half, 2 years these days. It's different these days. The investment environment is very different than when it was when you guys were pioneering in your individual cities. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Tim?
Definitely.
I think when I travel now and I look at new coffee shops that are being made around the world, I'm thinking to myself, they're never going to make that money back that they invested in the space.
I see it all over Dubai. Let me tell you, I see it all over Dubai.
So, I mean, when I started, I did most of the renovation of the space myself. I went to flea markets to buy furniture and all these kind of things.
That's kind of what we did in the very beginning too.
Yeah. And the startup cost was back then pretty high, but if I look at it now compared to what people are spending, it was nothing. And that's kind of how we managed to kind of break even the first year and then make a profit after that. I recently partnered up in a coffee shop up north in Norway, and Ida, who's running that, she's been working 200% weeks with a 50% salary. To make it run, and today she has a full coffee shop almost year round because of tourism. But
awesome!
It's still hard to make money. It almost breaks even. So and she's not even taking a big salary. Yeah, it's full every day.
Well, that's why the Frappuccino, man.
Yeah.
What a great place to end this episode. All right, folks, come back for the final episode after next. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.